In this masterclass, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I took to grow up my account from 8,000 followers to over 15,000 in the last 30 days. Not from trends, not from virality, but from identity. 3 things that you're going to walk away with tonight is how I leveraged AI, what metrics actually matter, and how to implement this for aligned growth. So the first thing that I did was I looked to see what accounts are growing fast that don't have a massive following already. The pattern wasn't aesthetics or editing, it was identity-based messaging, content that challenges how someone sees themselves. That's what actually converts non-followers into followers. Identity-based content works because people make decisions from identity. There are 4 identity layers that you need to understand about your ideal client. Who they say they are, so claimed identity. Their current lived identity, so how they actually show up. A villain identity, so who they are adamantly against being. And then their desired identity, so who do they want to be, but they haven't fully stepped into that yet. Growth lives in the tension between all of these. And this is what's going to drive the framing of all of your content. So how do we understand psychologically what our ideal client is going through and how they identify with all of these different identities? I have a identity excavation tool that I created that will help you to outline that and to put that into chat. You're going to put this tool in there that talks about your ideal client and all of their identities. And then that is going to be used to script out your content that's actually going to challenge those beliefs and not just speak to the external problems and external outcomes that they want. A lot of people are struggling to grow right now because they're giving people information instead of challenging their identity and that belief. People will fight against what they believe is their identity. So if you challenge that, they are engaged. They're listening. If you're talking about that villain identity that they do not want anything to do with, well, they're going to be in agreement with that type of content. And everyone that's against that identity will also engage. So you're going to have a mix of both, but that's how you're going to grow. You cannot be magnetic without being polarizing. It's just impossible. You can't please everyone. So you're going to use this tool and then you're going to put this into chat. And I have another prompt around how you're going to script the videos so that they are the most engaging and you have the highest retention time possible. Now, this is all for talking head style content, polarizing, identity led. Again, challenging the gap between who they say they are and how they're actually showing up. The goal is clarity, not virality. Now, once we have all of this, we can take this prompt, we can put that with the excavation tool into chat, and it's going to give us these amazing scripts. Now, after you've filmed your content and you've posted it, if you have access to posting trial reels, post some as trials to begin with and see how they resonate, because trials only go to non-followers. And what I want you to look at more so than views is I want you to look at the skip rate, because you want that skip rate as low as possible. That tells you that you have a good hook. And if your hook isn't good enough, the rest of the video doesn't really matter because you're not going to have enough people to watch it and to actually have it move the needle. So you're going to post these as trials or on your main feed, either way, depending on if you have access to trials. And then you're going to analyze skip rate. And if it's not good, then we need to optimize that first 3 seconds of the video to make it call out the identity in a more polarizing way, or maybe it's not being called out soon enough, because if it's called out in seconds 4 through 7, well, then you're losing them. So you got to remove that beginning part and go to that, that next phase of the video, because they have to be retained in order for us to move the video and reach more people. All right, let's talk about these KPIs that we want to shoot for. Now, all of these talking head style videos are 30 seconds or less because we want the retention time to be as high as possible, meaning that we want to keep them for ideally at least 15 seconds if it's a 30-second video. Now, number one KPI that we're going to track is skip rate. So we want to keep this as, like I said, low as possible. Now, in the beginning, 40% or less is what I would shoot for. Elite status is under 30%. So this is how you can kind of see where you're at and how you can interpret these numbers. If you're under 30%, then that identity call out is landing. Over 40, the hook, it's just not polarizing enough. And over 50, that first 3 seconds, 100% needs to be rewritten. All right, next, retention time, average watch time. This is really the percentage of watch time. So you're going to be able to see in your metrics, you can see the average watch time, but then you got to take that, right, divided by your total length of your video. If you keep them 30 seconds or less, then these are the metrics you want to be looking at. If it's under 35% retention, then that's just not going to be good enough. So we need to get that up. So we need to clarify the message and the pacing. If the hook is good, but then they drop off, then it's too long, too indirect, too repetitive. All right, then next, we want to look at how many followers are we getting each video. So if the identity resonated strongly, then we will have a good follow rate. But if we have low follows with good skip and retention, we have a positioning gap. Message landed, identity wasn't clear enough. Audience understood, but didn't yet claim the identity. So if this is low, we got to clarify who is this for and who is it not for. This is really, really important for growth. And then fourth, saves and shares. I used to think this was number one, and this was my problem and why I wasn't growing as fast as I could. These are very important metrics. They are, but they're not the most important. So what saves and shares are going to tell us is, did it feel personally relevant or socially affirming? If we have high saves, then they're identifying with it. If we have high shares, then social identity alignment is there. You don't need exact percentages here, just patterns. But if these are low, we have to increase specificity and emotional clarity, because it's just they're not relating to the content enough if these are low. So here's the sequence of what's important and the weight of each one. Because again, I used to have this backwards, and that was part of the reason why I wasn't growing. So the sequence here is, number one, we have to fix skip rate first. If we don't keep them, then the rest of it doesn't matter. Number two, improve retention. So first thing is, I want you to focus on skip rate, so getting a good hook, calling out identity. Then we want to keep them on the video for as long as possible. And keeping it under 30 seconds is the way to go, because if you can keep them at that, 15-second mark, average watch time, well, then you're in a good place. Number three, the follows per reel. If you're not getting follows, it's not a strong enough piece of content. So focus on the follows. And then four, then scale the idea. So we want to look at what's working and then lean into that topic further, because we know that's resonating with them. This step is really important, and this helped me tremendously. I had a folder inside of chat, I still do, Kate's 50K growth plan by 2026. I started this at the end of last year. So you want to upload all of your data. If you don't have the Edits app, download that app so you can get these screenshots. It just gives you a nice breakdown versus if you're in the Instagram app and looking at the analytics. Here I've screenshotted the skip rate, the lowest skip rate, and then also followers per reel. And then I take this data and then I put it into chat. That way it knows. It can quickly tell me what topics are resonating most with people. So then that will help me when I'm driving new scripting ideas around identity. Okay, I then created this spreadsheet to track the metrics that matter. So you can see here, I have non-follower reach, follower growth, skip rate, and then there's a bunch of other metrics on here that we're tracking. I will give you this tool. You can make a copy and you can use it. And you want to look at these and you want to compare where these are compared to those targets, right? So like you can see here, I have these in red because those are too high. They're too low for non-follower reach. We want that as high as possible because we want to reach as many non-followers. We want to get in front of new eyeballs. So if it's in red, that means it's not good, right? So that is how I identify the patterns. But you're going to track all of these each week. That way you don't say, oh, well, this isn't working. Well, no, you got to give it enough time, and then you have to track all the data. You also need to track the titles on the screen. That's really important for keeping people engaged, them wanting to click on it, right? A lot of people don't have their sound on. So all of these little things matter. Sometimes people have a title in the beginning, but then it goes away. I think it's important to keep that title on the screen because, again, if they don't have their sound on and then that title goes away, then that might prevent them from staying on that video and continuing to read. Okay, if skip rate is improving and retention is improving and your followers are slowly increasing, then that is your signal. You're on the right track. Lean into those topics that are working for your audience. Okay, next, we're going to do a live identity breakdown and we're going to apply this in real time. So I'm going to take one of you that's on this call tonight and we're going to run through all of these tools that I've created. We're going to put them into chat and then we're going to create scripts and we're going to do this together. I'm actually going to have you put it in on your side on chat and then I'm going to be here to support you every step of the way. And then we're going to see what scripts it actually comes up with for you and for your ideal client. You're then going to film these this week and post them, and then we can analyze that data next week. Very excited to get started and to watch your growth using this new framework